Disability is any medical condition that makes it more difficult for a person to do certain activities or effectively interact with the world around them. These conditions or impairments may be cognitive, developmental, mental, physical, sensory, or combination of multiple factors. Impairments causing disabilities may be present from birth or occur during person's lifetime. The Malawi Council of the Handicapped, MACOHA, was established in 1971 through the Act of the Parliament. MACOHA, as a Malawian agency, is on the forefront of work to help men and women with disabilities to be more independent, self-sufficient, and recognized as equals within Malawian society, receiving the same opportunities that exist for able-bodied people. Harriet Kashimanga is a public relations officer at MACOHA, and she explains more about the organization.
My name is Harriet Kashimanga. I'm the public relations officer for Malawi Council for the Handicapped. MACOHA was established in 1971 by an act of parliament. As we might be aware that persons with disabilities are marginalized in so many ways, in terms of their health, their education, their social inclusion, their rights sometimes are infringed. So Malawi Council for the Handicapped was established as a government agency that will enable empowerment of persons with disabilities in order to achieve an inclusive society. MACOHA offers a number of services. We offer community rehabilitation. This is where persons with disabilities are identified. In these training institutions, persons with disabilities are trained in various skills such as tailoring, carpentry. They undergo other courses such as ICT, accounting, and they are not supposed to pay any fee. We also have placement services. When persons with disabilities are trained, whether at our institutions or other institutions, we assist them to find employment. They are placed for employment somewhere. And also we have resettlement schemes. We have three in Salima, another one in Chikwawa, and another one in Maraga. In these resettlement schemes, persons with disabilities do various agricultural activities, farming, rearing animals. After producing whatever produce they make, they sell them for their own income as well as their families. Yes, we also have a production unit, Bangwe Factory. Bangwe Factory is the biggest employer of persons with disabilities in Malawi. We have also had a great achievement whereby through our training institutions, many persons with disabilities have been able to get equipped with so many skills.
Upon realizing the services offered by MACOHA, Bangwe Weaving Factory was established in 1976 under the leadership of Dr. Hastings Kamsbanda. Gaston Manda is the supervisor at Bangwe Weaving Factory, but he has a physical challenge in that he has difficulties to walk. Gaston explains how the people at the company are defining the odds.
Pamalo pano kuyamba banali weaving yoka. Komano malinga ndikusintha kwa zinthu tilipo ma department 4. Tili ndi weaving imeneyo zochitika za katikati zotiziona ndeti ndi tailoring. Paka pamenepo tiliso ndi tie and dye. Komanso tili ndi screen printing. Poyambirira tailoring inali kuchenza. Pamene tie and dye inali kulonga. The screen printing imagwenso kwechicha koma amene anangomanga nyumba yawo. koma ma department ndanene nawa anangobwera pano ndiye mukhoza kuona kuti chinthu chinamangidwa design ya factory limodzi koma atabwera anthu aja tinambo kuti sinthe ndiye kupezeka kwina kunaika kwa hotelali tayandale kuti azikilo amene choncho panakhala ti space chekutani nje pafumanika sinobwera kumachi.
Mrs. Linus Mandua is the executive director of PodCam, and she explains the challenges that people with disabilities face in as far as education is concerned.
I am Mrs. Linus Mandua. My father loved me so much to the extent that he managed to do everything for me to go to school. As I told you that I was born in Zambia. When I was young, they used to use a pram to push me to and from school. So when I got bigger, I could not fit in the pram. So walking to and from school, it was a bit a challenge. So my father decided to send me to a boarding school, as I've mentioned, at Nambuma Girls Boarding School. That's where I was. The challenge I met there when they went to enroll me to Nambuma Girls Primary School, it was the headmistress was like, how are we going to keep her here? Who is going to be washing her clothes? Who is going to be looking after her? So my father said, she is independent. She can wash her clothes. She can do everything on her own. But by and by, still more, the headmistress decided to give us mothers. That's where the mothers thing started when we were at Nambuma. So they gave me a mother who was I was in standard 6, and they gave me a mother who was in standard 7. When I went to secondary school, at Lutz Girls Secondary School, the same happened. The headmistress said, no, we cannot have her here. She should go to the younger girls near her parents. So when she asked me if I could go to the younger girls, I said, no, I was selected to Lutz Girls Secondary School. I have to do my school here. I cannot go to the girls' secondary school. I can look after myself. Makoha works for persons with disabilities. Accessibility was not a problem, but there were a lot of negative attitudes just because it was like I was a bit different from the others. Just because I went to school, I was on a higher position than the others. So they could talk different things, but I did not take it up anyway. We ended up being friends. I ended up teaching some of them on how to live with each other, just because most of the times children with disabilities, as I've said, they cannot go to boarding schools. Maybe, I don't know this time, but for our time, it was difficult because accept us in boarding schools, it was difficult. So it was like a starting point or a learning point or teaching point to those at boarding schools to live with those with disabilities. I've achieved a lot in life. As I can say that I'm married. I'm happily married. I have children. At least I've gone to school. I'm working. Those are my achievements. Apart from this, it's like I'm a board member in several boards, including some government boards. As I've told you that I'm working as an executive director, that's an achievement. I can say I am able, I'm a women's guild member, that's also an achievement. I'm a mother group chairperson at St. Pius Girls Secondary School. We are urging the government to ensure that they give them whatsoever they want, the special needs teachers and the special needs department, to ensure that children with disabilities should go back to school.
Virginia Anyalo faced some challenges from childhood as she dropped out from school when she was in standard 5 at the age of 13 after she was impregnated. She then went back to school up to secondary and tertiary levels, and now she has succeeded with different certificates. In addition to the challenges, she also faced challenges in her marriage to the extent that her husband divorced her because of her disability. The husband also insulted her that she was lucky that he married her without regarding her disability. She explains more about her life.
I'm Virginia Masweta Nyalo from Kyoro, but I stay here in Twente. I was married. Unfortunately, my husband passed away, but when we already divorced, yeah, we stayed in our family for over 28 years. But unfortunately, he went to find somebody who was not, who didn't have any disability. So he also married another woman. I was also promoted as a finance manager at Fedoma, where I had also a team which I was now supervising. So unfortunately, because of other, maybe should I say political what, I retired in 2019. I was also assisting at Fedoma, whereby I also going in the village, talking with parents with persons with children with disabilities, encouraging them to send their children to school. Because I was saying, like myself, if I didn't have my parents who were maybe encouraging me, I couldn't go far with education. But because my parents were encouraging me, but also the community, they also assisting in encouraging me to go ahead with my education. So that's what I was doing, encouraging parents, but also encouraging young children, to go with disability to go back to school. Because education is like a key. You can do whatever you want. Maybe you want to do business, to do this. With education, it also assists you to open your mind. Than maybe somebody who didn't went to school, you might be different from that. So that's what I was also doing. But even not only persons with disabilities, like around where I do stay, I could also encourage women, girls to do something in life.
Another condition of disability is visual impairment. Visual impairment or loss of vision is the decreased ability to see. Ulem Kawale was not born blind, but she later lost her sight due to retinal detachment. Even though she was sent to the hospital in South Africa for treatment, unfortunately it did not work due to delays that were caused. When she came back to Malawi, she thought she could live a miserable life, but all thanks to her parents, who never gave up on her. They sent her to school to learn Braille.
My name is Olem Kawale, and I come from Leroy. Of course, I'm working for Malawi Council for the handicapped. Then, about myself, I was not born blind, but I lost sight later in life due to retinal detachment. Of course, I went to the hospital, but unfortunately, it didn't work here in Malawi. So I was sent to South Africa for further treatment. Unfortunately, it didn't work, mainly because I was delayed by the hospital here in Malawi. Of course, it was really painful because it was something that I never expected in life. It was just like the end of life when the doctor told me that they couldn't do anything. They tried their best, so it was just like the end of life. But then, from there, when I came back to Malawi, I just thanked my parents because they valued the importance of education. At first, when I told by the doctor that I'll never see again, it was actually so painful in my life. I was thinking that maybe I would lead a miserable life. By the time I was able to see, I could see blind people begging. So I was thinking that myself, I would just be like them. But I think my parents, just because they sent me to a special school for the blind where I learned Braille. And then from there, I was selected to go to secondary school. That was primary secondary school. You know, learning Braille at a later age is something very, very difficult. And people could actually tell me that, it's actually difficult for somebody maybe who are just started to learn Braille in peaceful education. But there was nothing that I could do because I knew that that was the only mode of communication that I could use to pursue my education. So I worked hard, went to secondary school. Of course, I had high ambitions, but somehow something was actually disturbed because, here in Malawi, maybe to actually go for further education, it wasn't all that easy because we had to fight hard to make sure that blind students should pursue university education. After finishing school, of course, I went to a vocational training center for the blind in Malanje. I went there mainly to learn typing so that I could be able maybe to communicate well with the sighted blind, because I knew that I would go for further education. Maybe I would also start work, so I was actually preparing for myself.
Ezekiel Kumwenda, who is a visually impaired person but has made it in life. Part of his achievements are: he is the founder and the executive director of the Malawi Union of the Blind, and also the president of African Federation of the Deaf and the Blind. Mr. Kumwenda was not born blind, but he lost his sight when he was diagnosed with meningitis while in secondary school. Another achievement is that he fought for the improvement of better examination conditions for the visually impaired.
I became blind. I feel sick. And after being diagnosed at the hospital, I was told that, it was meningitis. Now, there was no doctor in Malawi who was treating that disease. But the only doctor who was there was Dr. George Ntafu. You know George Ntafu?
Yes.
He was once a minister, a UTF minister. Now he was in prison. And the authorities, people like John Tembo, Mama Kazamida, thought of approaching Dr. George Ntafu in prison to come out from prison and assist me. Then Dr. George Ntafu said no, he could not do that just because was he going to be released just because the Malawi government has found has found a problem or a case. So he said no. Now, because of that, then I was sent to South Africa to Garden City Clinic. So I was treated. The first operation was on 24th September 1990. It was to do with here and here, and then I'm speaking. I've got a tube in my head. The second operation was from here to here. There's also tube inside. And on 5th November, I came back to Malawi. But I found myself to be blind. And I was asked, I was teaching art Chazunda primary school. I started what we call, disability movement. The examination paper. They'll ask you, they'll give you a map and so to okay, name the feature, map the A or B, C, D. Then you are able to see and translate that one into what? Again, maybe the mountain which is there. Okay, this is the Monange mountain. Among the position of Monange. Now, but to the blind people, it means you have just to trace using what? A finger. Then I said, no, that is unfair. Then I wrote a letter to President Modus saying, no, we need to make some intervention in the education of the what? Blind. But before that, I used to be writing the Minister of Education, Dr. Kassim Chirumba. He was not responding. At that time, I was outside bursting into Waterson. listened to the lady of Tuzunkanisa. They said, Ezekiel, we are looking for you. I said, why? What is the problem? No, the minister is looking for you. Okay, so can I meet him at 1? They accepted. Then they told me that they would send a driver. Then the driver at 1 o'clock he came. He picked me. I went to Chichiri Secondary School. We had a division manager's office. The minister was there, Dr. Kasim Kirompa, the manager chief executive was there. It was a very high-powered delegation. The minister started asking me, Ezekiel, why did you decide to write to the president? Then I said, I wrote to the president because of this issue. Why didn't you write to me? Then I said, I wrote to you 5 times, but you never responded. Would you please give us the evidence? Then I took all the letters and gave you. He had nothing to say. Okay, now, what should be the problem now? What should we do? I said, no. Is it possible that maybe you remove the diagrams in the examination for the blind people, because it's totally unfair, because there's no way you can give him the diagrams, and yet you are also deducting the marks for them. That's why you are saying that blind people are not intelligent. If they don't encourage blind people, that they should be learning how in the streets and asking for arms. No, that is very, very bad. That's why we are saying, don't give us a fish, but tell us how to catch what. Kama katika $1,000, there's what Monday pasandra malilo 5,000. There's what kulima on 25,000 ina nipite nikapange multiply nikapange mina nikagule flour nipike mandasi nikagulisi. Olomina ndikukongozeni akula kurukata pila papa mwina luje ndo 20%. Ndozati ndamene bitoka ine bidaniso. Ibwira simzandona mambo bita konse ko makatanga makatempo. Hai isizo so nazimenzo. But teach us some skills. Because if you empower us with the skills, it means we'll be able to live independently.
Indeed, disability is not inability, or is not a defense of not being self-dependent. Many people with disabilities have excelled in life. Indeed, people with disabilities must not be given fish, but let us teach them how to catch fish, and let us not segregate them, but include them in decision-making and various community activities.